need to exercise every day. That's very important. I have outlived my two brothers, 13, 14 years, 17 years. They're already passed away. And every year that's going to increase another year. And I'm not going to die next year, so it's going to keep going up.
At 100 years old, most people are in nursing homes, dependent on others, struggling with multiple medications, and just trying to survive one more day. But not Dr. John Scharffenberg. At 100, this man still sees patients. He still teaches medical students at one of America's top health universities. He still walks 2 miles every single day. He maintains 20/20 vision with corrective lenses. His mind is sharper than most people half his age, and he's publishing research that's changing how we think about nutrition and longevity. After 70 years of practicing medicine and examining thousands of patients, Dr. Scharffenberg has identified 3 critical vitamin deficiencies that he sees in almost every sick person who walks through his door. 3 vitamins that over 70% of Americans are dangerously low in right now. And here's what's terrifying. These deficiencies are silent. They don't announce themselves with dramatic symptoms. They quietly destroy your vision, deteriorate your brain, weaken your bones, and accelerate your aging year after year without you even knowing it's happening. But Dr. Scharffenberg has also discovered something hopeful. When you correct these 3 deficiencies using his exact protocol, remarkable things start happening. Blood pressure drops without medication. Brain fog lifts, energy returns, bones strengthen, and the aging process itself seems to slow down. In the next 50 minutes, I'm going to take you on a deep journey into Dr. Scharffenberg's world. You'll discover exactly which 3 vitamins are missing from your body right now, the warning signs you need to watch for, and his precise step-by-step method for correcting these deficiencies naturally. You'll learn why he lives in one of only 5 blue zones in the entire world where people routinely live past 100, the exact foods he eats every single day to maintain his health, his controversial stance on soy that contradicts everything you've heard, and the shocking truth about vitamin absorption that changes everything after age 50. This isn't a quick fix. This isn't a magic pill. This is a complete system for longevity that's been proven over 7 decades of clinical practice and validated by the extraordinary health outcomes in Loma Linda, California. By the end of this documentary, you'll have a 90-day action plan that could genuinely add 10 to 20 years of healthy life. But I need your complete attention, because what I'm about to share contradicts a lot of mainstream health advice you've been following. Before we begin, do me a favor. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. What city, what state, what country? I personally read every comment, and I want to know where our global community is. Drop your location below right now. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. We publish in-depth, evidence-based longevity content every week. Next week, I'm revealing the one food that Dr. Scharffenberg says is aging Americans faster than smoking. You won't want to miss that. All right, let's meet the most inspiring centenarian you'll ever encounter. Dr. John Scharffenberg is not just a 100-year-old man who's managed to stay alive. He is a 100-year-old physician, nutritionist, and professor who is still actively contributing to medicine and science. Let me put this in perspective. This man was born in 1924. He lived through the Great Depression, World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, the Cold War, the fall of the Berlin Wall, the rise of the Internet, 9/11, and the COVID-19 pandemic. He's seen medical science evolve from rudimentary treatments to modern precision medicine. He earned his medical degree and has been practicing for over 70 years. He's currently a professor of nutrition at Loma Linda University, one of the world's premier health science institutions. He's trained thousands of doctors and healthcare professionals. He's published countless research papers. And at 100, he's still teaching, still learning, still growing. But here's what makes Dr. Scharffenberg's story so uniquely powerful. He doesn't just study longevity in a laboratory. He lives it. He's the embodiment of his own research. He's walking, talking proof that extreme longevity with excellent health is not only possible but achievable. When you look at him, when you hear him speak, when you see the clarity of his mind and the vitality in his body, you immediately understand that he knows something most people don't. He's not lucky. He's not genetically special. In fact, he'll tell you himself that genetics play a much smaller role in longevity than most people think. What matters is lifestyle. What matters is the daily choices you make about food, movement, stress, and community. Dr. Scharffenberg lives in Loma Linda, California, and this is critically important to understand. Loma Linda is not just any city. It's one of only 5 blue zones in the entire world.
If you don't exercise, you're going to die sooner. For every hour you exercise, you will live 3 hours longer.
Blue zones are regions where people live significantly longer than average, where reaching 100 is common, where people in their 90s are still active, independent, and healthy. These zones have been studied extensively by researchers trying to understand what creates such extraordinary longevity. The 5 blue zones are Loma Linda in California, Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, Nicoya in Costa Rica, and Ikaria in Greece. Each of these places has unique cultural practices, but they all share common lifestyle factors that contribute to exceptional health and lifespan. Loma Linda is particularly interesting because it's the only blue zone in the United States. It's home to a large population of Seventh-day Adventists, a religious group with specific health teachings that discourage smoking, alcohol, and often promote vegetarianism. And the results are undeniable. Adventists in Loma Linda outlive other Americans by about 10 years, 10 full years of additional life. And it's not just quantity, it's quality. These extra years are healthy, active, independent years. Dr. Scharffenberg is part of this community. He embodies these principles. And when he was asked directly why he thinks Seventh-day Adventists live so long in America, his answer was clear and unambiguous: vegetarianism. Now, before you dismiss this as religious dogma or extreme thinking, understand that Dr. Scharffenberg is speaking from 7 decades of clinical observation. He's examined the digestive systems, blood work, and health outcomes of thousands of patients. He's seen patterns that most doctors never see because they don't follow patients for 30, 40, 50 years. And what he's observed is that vegetarian Adventists live 1.5 to 2.4 years longer than non-vegetarian Adventists, even when controlling for other health behaviors like not smoking or drinking. This isn't about religion. This is about biology. This is about what happens inside your body when you feed it certain foods versus others. Research on blue zones has found that 95% of people who live to be at least 108 years old eat a mainly plant-based diet rich in beans and whole grains. These aren't people barely surviving. These are people thriving well into their 2nd century of life. So when Dr. Scharffenberg talks about nutrition, when he recommends certain foods, when he warns against others, he's not speaking from theory. He's speaking from lived experience and decades of documented clinical outcomes. Now let me ask you something. If you had the opportunity to learn from someone who's actually achieved what you want, someone who's living proof that it works, wouldn't you listen? That's what we're doing today. We're learning from a man who has mastered longevity. If you're getting value from this already, hit that like button. And let's keep going. Let me take you deeper into the Loma Linda phenomenon, because understanding this will completely change how you think about aging. Loma Linda, California is a small city about 60 miles east of Los Angeles. It has a population of around 24,000 people. On the surface, it looks like any other Southern California town. But something extraordinary is happening here that doesn't happen anywhere else in America. People in Loma Linda are living an average of 10 years longer than other Americans. Men live to an average age of 89. Women live to an average age of 91. And the rate of centenarians, people living past 100, is significantly higher than the national average. But here's what's even more remarkable. These extra years aren't spent sick in hospitals or nursing homes. They're active, healthy, productive years. People in their 80s are still working, gardening, volunteering, and contributing to their community. So what makes Loma Linda so special? Why is this happening here, and not everywhere else? The answer lies in the lifestyle practices of the Seventh-day Adventist community that makes up a large portion of Loma Linda's population. Seventh-day Adventists follow health principles that are rooted in both religious teaching and practical wellness. They don't smoke. They don't drink alcohol. Many are vegetarian or vegan. They emphasize whole, plant-based foods. They prioritize rest and sleep. They maintain strong community connections. And the scientific data on their health outcomes is absolutely stunning. Studies have shown that Adventist men live 7.3 years longer than the average California man. Adventist women live 4.4 years longer than the average California woman. And vegetarian Adventists live even longer than their non-vegetarian counterparts. They have significantly lower rates of heart disease, the #1 killer in America. Their cancer rates are dramatically lower. Their rates of diabetes, obesity, and metabolic disease are a fraction of the national average. This isn't genetic. Many Adventists come from diverse ethnic backgrounds. This isn't about healthcare access. Many Adventists are middle class, not wealthy. This is about lifestyle. This is about daily choices compounded over decades. Researchers have identified 9 specific lifestyle factors that contribute to longevity in blue zones, and Loma Linda exemplifies most of them. Factor 1. Move naturally. People in blue zones don't go to gyms or run marathons. They move naturally throughout the day. They walk, they garden, they do manual work. Movement is integrated into daily life, not separated as exercise time. Dr. Scharffenberg at 100 still walks 2 miles every day, not on a treadmill, outside, in nature, moving his body the way humans evolved to move. Factor 2. Purpose. People in blue zones have a reason to wake up in the morning. In Okinawa, they call it ikigai. In Nicoya, it's plan de vida. It means knowing why you exist, having a sense of purpose. Dr. Scharffenberg's purpose is clear. He teaches, he helps patients, he shares knowledge. At 100, he's still contributing, still needed, still valuable. This sense of purpose is profoundly protective against age-related decline. Factor 3. Downshift. Even people in blue zones experience stress, but they have daily routines to shed that stress. Adventists pray. Icarians take naps. Sardinians have happy hour. Chronic stress creates inflammation. Inflammation accelerates aging. You must have stress reduction practices built into every single day. Factor 4. The 80% rule. Hara Hachi Bu is a Confucian-inspired Okinawan saying that reminds them to stop eating when their stomachs are 80% full. The 20% gap between not being hungry and feeling full could be the difference between losing weight or gaining it. Dr. Scharffenberg emphasizes portion control and eating until satisfied, not stuffed. Factor 5. Plant slant beans are the cornerstone of most centenarian diets. People in blue zones eat meat, but only about 5 times per month and in small portions, around 3 to 4 ounces. This is where Dr. Scharffenberg's vegetarianism becomes particularly relevant. He's taken the plant slant to its logical conclusion and eliminated meat entirely. Factor 6. Wine at 5. Interestingly, people in all blue zones except the Adventists drink alcohol moderately and regularly. Moderate drinkers outlive non-drinkers. However, Adventists prove you don't need alcohol to achieve longevity. Their other lifestyle factors more than compensate. Factor 7. Belong research shows that attending faith-based services 4 times per month adds 4 to 14 years of life expectancy. The denomination doesn't seem to matter. Community and belonging are deeply protective. Isolation kills. Factor 8. Loved ones. First centenarians in blue zones put their families first. They keep aging parents and grandparents nearby. They commit to a life partner. They invest time and love in their children. Strong family bonds create emotional resilience and practical support systems that sustain you through life's challenges. Factor 9. Right tribe. The world's longest-lived people chose or were born into social circles that supported healthy behaviors. Okinawans created moais, groups of 5 friends that committed to each other for life. Research shows that smoking, obesity, happiness, and even loneliness are contagious. Your friends literally influence your lifespan. Dr. Scharffenberg benefits from all of these factors. He lives in a community that normalizes healthy behavior. He's surrounded by people who walk daily, eat plants, don't smoke, and stay active into extreme old age. When healthy behavior is the cultural norm, it's easy to maintain. When everyone around you is eating fast food, smoking, and being sedentary, it's incredibly hard to be different. This is why moving to or creating blue zone conditions in your own life is so powerful. You're not fighting against culture. You're being supported by it. Now let's get into Dr. Scharffenberg's specific secrets. What exactly does he do every single day that keeps him healthy at 100?
We just have to avoid 7 lifestyle risk factors. Now you should know I'm 100 years of age. Of course, I drive a car. Number 1 is tobacco. Alcohol is another risk factor. The next one is inactivity. Now you should know the age at which it's most important. It's during midlife, 40 to 70 years of life. The next risk factor, overweight and too much sugar. Now sugar, for the first time, we've discovered, increases heart attack risk. A problem with too much meat, we could lower heart attack risk 80%, the first stroke risk 80%, diabetes risk 88% by lifestyle without any pills. The World Health Organization agrees to this. The American Heart Association promotes it.
Secret number 1. Why exercise beats weight loss. Dr. Scharffenberg made a statement that's going to challenge everything you've been told about health and weight loss. He said, "If a woman is obese but she exercises every day, she will outlive the normal weight woman who doesn't exercise." Read that again slowly. An obese woman who exercises will outlive a normal weight woman who doesn't. This is revolutionary because it completely flips the script on how most people think about health. We've been conditioned to believe that weight is the most important factor, that being thin equals being healthy. But Dr. Scharffenberg is telling us that movement matters more than weight. Now, obviously, the ideal scenario is being a healthy weight and exercising. But if you had to choose one, if you could only do one thing, movement is more protective than weight loss. Why is this true? Let me explain the science behind this statement. When you exercise regularly, several critical things happen in your body regardless of your weight. Your cardiovascular system strengthens. Your heart becomes more efficient at pumping blood. Your blood vessels become more elastic and healthy. Your blood pressure decreases. Exercise improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your cells respond better to insulin and can regulate blood sugar more effectively. This protects against diabetes even in overweight individuals. Exercise reduces chronic inflammation, which is the root cause of most age-related diseases. When you move your body, you activate anti-inflammatory pathways that protect your organs and tissues. Exercise stimulates the growth of new mitochondria, the energy factories inside your cells. More mitochondria means more energy, better metabolism, and slower cellular aging. Exercise triggers the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which promotes the growth of new brain cells and protects existing ones. This is why exercise is one of the most powerful tools for preventing Alzheimer's and cognitive decline. Exercise strengthens your bones by creating mechanical stress that signals your body to build denser, stronger bone tissue. This protects against osteoporosis and fractures as you age. Exercise improves your immune system function, making you more resistant to infections and possibly even cancer. All of these benefits happen when you exercise, regardless of whether you lose weight or not. A 250-pound person who walks every day and eats reasonably well can be metabolically healthier than a 150-pound person who is sedentary and eats poorly. This is called being metabolically fit versus just being thin. And metabolic fitness is what actually determines your health outcomes and longevity. Now, Dr. Scharffenberg emphasizes that exercise is particularly critical during middle age. He says, "Exercise in middle age is the most important time. You exercise in that age group might reduce your risk of Alzheimer's. This is based on research showing that brain health in your 70s, 80s, and 90s is largely determined by what you did in your 40s, 50s, and 60s. Your middle years are when you're either building brain resilience or allowing it to deteriorate. When you exercise during middle age, you're increasing blood flow to your brain, which delivers oxygen and nutrients that keep brain cells healthy. You're reducing inflammation that would otherwise damage neural tissue. You're stimulating the production of new neurons in the hippocampus, the memory center of your brain. Studies have shown that people who exercise regularly in middle age have a 30 to 40% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's decades later. That's a massive protective effect. So what does Dr. Scharffenberg do at 100? He still walks at least 2 miles every single day. Let me emphasize this. At 100 years old, he hasn't given up on movement. He's obviously not running sprints or lifting heavy weights, but he maintains consistent daily walking. Walking is one of the most underrated and underutilized forms of exercise. It's low impact, so it doesn't damage your joints. It's accessible to almost everyone, regardless of fitness level. It can be done anywhere without equipment, and the health benefits are extraordinary. Research shows that walking just 30 minutes a day reduces your risk of heart disease by 35%, your risk of diabetes by 40%, and your risk of dying prematurely by 20 to 30%. But here's the key. It has to be consistent, not 3 times a week. Not when you feel like it, every single day. Dr. Scharffenberg gave us one of the most motivating statistics I've ever heard. He said, "For every hour you exercise, you will live 3 hours longer." Think about that math. If you exercise 1 hour a day, 7 days a week, that's 7 hours per week, 28 hours per month, 336 hours per year. According to Dr. Scharffenberg's formula, that 336 hours of exercise will give you 1,008 hours of additional life. That's 42 extra days per year. Over 20 years, that's 840 extra days, more than 2 additional years of life. And that's just the quantity. The quality improvement is immeasurable. Those extra years are healthy, active, independent years, not years spent sick in a hospital. So if you're sitting there thinking you don't have time to exercise, you're actually losing time. Every hour you don't exercise is costing you 3 future hours of life. Now let me give you practical guidance for implementing this principle. If you're currently sedentary, don't try to become Dr. Scharffenberg overnight. Start small. Start with 10 minutes of walking after dinner. Do that consistently for 2 weeks until it becomes automatic. Then increase to 15 minutes, then 20, then 30. The goal is to build a sustainable habit, not to burn yourself out with unsustainable intensity. If you're middle-aged, between 40 and 65, this is your critical window. This is when you need to prioritize movement above almost everything else. Your future brain health depends on what you do right now. If you're already over 65 or 70, it's not too late. Studies show that even people who start exercising in their 70s see significant health improvements and reduced mortality risk. The type of exercise matters less than consistency. Walking is excellent. Swimming is great. Cycling works. Yoga and Tai Chi are beneficial. Strength training is important for maintaining muscle mass. Mix different types of movement to work different systems. Walk for cardiovascular health. Do bodyweight exercises for strength. Stretch for flexibility. All of it contributes to longevity. And here's something important. Exercise doesn't have to mean working out. It can mean gardening, dancing, playing with grandchildren, doing house chores actively, taking stairs instead of elevators. In blue zones, people don't go to gyms. They just move naturally throughout the day. Their environment and lifestyle require movement, so they get it automatically. Try to engineer your life so that movement is natural and unavoidable. Park farther away. Take stairs. Walk to nearby destinations. Stand while working. Take movement breaks every hour. Dr. Scharffenberg at 100 is still walking 2 miles daily. What's your excuse? If this is inspiring you, let me know in the comments. Tell me what movement you're going to commit to starting today. Now let's talk about secret number 2, the diet that's adding 10 years to life. Secret number 2, the plant-based longevity diet. Dr. Scharffenberg is a vegetarian. He has been for decades, and he attributes much of the longevity in the Seventh-day Adventist community to vegetarianism. When asked directly why Adventists live so long, his answer was one word: vegetarianism. Now, I know this is controversial. I know many of you eat meat and have no intention of stopping, and that's okay. You don't have to become fully vegetarian to benefit from this information. But I want you to understand the science and the evidence behind Dr. Scharffenberg's position, because it's extraordinarily compelling. Research on blue zones found that 95% of people who live to be at least 108 years old eat a mainly plant-based diet rich in beans and whole grains. Not 50%, not 70%, 95%. These are the oldest old, the supercentenarians, the people living well into their 2nd century. And almost all of them are eating primarily plants. Studies on Seventh-day Adventists have shown that vegetarian Adventists live 1.5 to 2.4 years longer than non-vegetarian Adventists, even when controlling for other behaviors like not smoking, not drinking, and exercising. That means that diet alone, independent of other healthy behaviors, is adding years to life. The Adventist Health Study, one of the longest-running health studies in the world, has followed tens of thousands of Adventists for decades. The data is crystal clear. Vegetarians have lower rates of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, and virtually every major chronic disease. They have lower BMIs, lower cholesterol, lower blood pressure, better kidney function, and better cognitive function as they age. This isn't opinion. This isn't bias. This is peer-reviewed, published scientific data collected over decades. So what exactly are these people eating? Let's break down the 5 food groups that make up the typical Adventist Blue Zone diet. Group 1. Legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, peas. These are the absolute cornerstone of longevity diets worldwide. Legumes are incredibly high in protein, providing 15 to 20 grams per cup. They're packed with fiber, which feeds your gut bacteria and stabilizes blood sugar. They contain resistant starch, which further benefits gut health and metabolism. They're rich in folate, iron, magnesium, potassium, and other essential minerals. They contain antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. And here's the remarkable thing. They're cheap. Dried beans cost almost nothing. They're accessible to everyone, regardless of income. Dr. Scharffenberg particularly enjoys snow peas, which are a type of legume that can be eaten whole, pod, and all. In blue zones around the world, beans are eaten daily. Black beans in Nicoya, lentils in Sardinia, soybeans in Okinawa, fava beans in Ikaria, chickpeas in the Mediterranean. If you do one thing to improve your diet, start eating beans every single day. Add them to soups, salads, make bean dips, cook them with rice, blend them into veggie burgers. Group 2. Whole grains. Brown rice, barley, oatmeal, quinoa, whole wheat, farro. These are grains that haven't been stripped of their fiber and nutrients through processing. Whole grains are significantly higher in fiber than refined grains. They contain B vitamins, iron, magnesium, and selenium. They have a lower glycemic index, meaning they don't spike your blood sugar as dramatically. Research shows that a diet high in whole grains is linked to 20 to 30% lower rates of heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers, particularly colorectal cancer. Most Americans eat almost no whole grains. They eat white bread, white rice, and processed cereals. They're missing out on one of the most protective food categories. Switching from refined grains to whole grains is one of the easiest and most impactful dietary changes you can make. Group 3. Nuts. Walnuts, almonds, pistachios, cashews, pecans. Nuts are a daily staple in blue zone diets. Studies have shown that people who eat nuts 5 or more times per week have a 50% lower risk of heart attacks compared to people who rarely eat nuts. 50%. That's an enormous protective effect. Nuts are high in healthy unsaturated fats, particularly omega-3 fatty acids in walnuts. They contain protein, fiber, vitamin E, magnesium, and selenium. They have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. The key is portion control. Nuts are calorie-dense, so you need to limit your serving to about a handful, roughly 1 ounce or 28 grams. Dr. Scharffenberg recommends pistachios specifically. They're rich in antioxidants, particularly lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect eye health. They contain the highest amount of potassium among tree nuts. Group 4. Fruits. Eat a variety of fruits every day. Different colors provide different phytonutrients, plant chemicals that have various protective effects. Berries are particularly powerful. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. They're packed with antioxidants that protect against cellular damage and cognitive decline. Citrus fruits provide vitamin C and flavonoids. Apples provide fiber and quercetin. Bananas provide potassium and resistant starch. Dr. Scharffenberg loves mangoes, which we'll discuss in detail later. Fruits provide vitamins, minerals, fiber, water, and countless beneficial plant compounds. They satisfy sweet cravings naturally without added sugars. Aim for at least 2 to 3 servings of whole fruit daily. Group 5. Vegetables. This should be the foundation of every meal. Fill half your plate with vegetables. The more variety, the better. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, collards, and Swiss chard are nutritional powerhouses. They provide folate, vitamin K, calcium, iron, and countless phytonutrients. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and cauliflower contain sulforaphane and other compounds that have anti-cancer properties. Colorful vegetables like peppers, tomatoes, carrots, and beets provide different antioxidants and protective compounds. Vegetables are extremely low in calories but high in volume, meaning you can eat large portions and feel full without consuming many calories. This naturally supports healthy weight management. Now, here's what's critical to understand. This isn't about eliminating one food or adding one superfood. It's about the overall dietary pattern. The Adventist diet is built on a foundation of whole plant foods with minimal processing. There's no secret ingredient. The power comes from consistently eating this way, day after day, year after year, decade after decade. These foods work synergistically. The fiber in beans feeds gut bacteria. The bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids that reduce inflammation. The antioxidants in vegetables protect against that inflammation. The whole grains stabilize blood sugar. The nuts provide healthy fats that support hormone production. Everything works together as a system. Now, does this mean you can never eat meat, dairy, or eggs? No. Many long-lived people in blue zones eat small amounts of animal products. The key word is small. In blue zones, meat is eaten about 5 times per month in portions of 3 to 4 ounces. It's a condiment, not the main course. Dairy and eggs are consumed in moderation, but plants are always the foundation. Dr. Scharffenberg has chosen to eliminate animal products entirely, and his Health at 100 suggests this approach works for him. Whether you choose to go that far is up to you. But here's what the evidence clearly shows. The more plant foods you eat and the fewer animal products you consume, the lower your risk of chronic disease and the longer your lifespan tends to be. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be extreme. But moving in the direction of more plants and fewer animal products is one of the most evidence-based longevity strategies we have. If you're feeling inspired to make changes, let me know in the comments. What's one plant food you're going to add to your diet this week? Now let's get specific. Let me show you exactly what Dr. Scharffenberg eats every single day at 100. If you want to live to 100 with excellent health, one of the smartest things you can do is study what actual centenarians eat. Not what diet books say, not what influencers recommend. What people who've actually achieved extreme longevity consume daily. Dr. Scharffenberg has been very open about his dietary habits. Let me walk you through his daily nutrition protocol. Morning routine. The tofu protocol. Dr. Scharffenberg starts every day with soy. Specifically, he eats 100 grams of tofu daily, which is about 3.5 ounces or roughly 1/4 of a standard 14-ounce block. He says, "Soy is a good thing. I recommend one of those boxes, 1/4 of a 400-gram box, 100 grams a day of tofu." Now, this is controversial because there's a lot of fear and confusion about soy in American culture. We're told soy causes hormonal problems, that it feminizes men, that it causes thyroid issues or breast cancer. But Dr. Scharffenberg at 100, thriving and healthy, eats it every single day. And the populations with the highest longevity in the world, particularly in Okinawa, Japan, consume soy daily. So what's the truth? I'm going to address the soy controversy in detail in the next section. For now, understand that Dr. Scharffenberg's daily soy consumption is intentional and evidence-based. His favorite fruit: mangoes. Dr. Scharffenberg loves fruits, and his top favorite is mango. Mangoes are revered in many countries where they're grown. They're called the king of fruits in parts of Asia. And for good reason. Mangoes are rich in vitamin C, providing about 67% of your daily needs in just one cup. They're an excellent source of vitamin A, which Dr. Scharffenberg identifies as one of the 3 critical vitamins Americans are deficient in. They contain significant amounts of folate, vitamin B6, vitamin K, potassium, and copper. They're packed with over 20 different antioxidants, including mangiferin, which has powerful anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer properties. But here's what makes mangoes particularly valuable for seniors. They're rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoids that accumulate in the retina of your eye and protect against age-related macular degeneration and cataracts. Dr. Scharffenberg, at 100, still has 20/20 vision with corrective lenses. He's had cataract surgery, where they implanted 20/20 lenses, but the fact that he maintained eye health well enough to even qualify for this procedure speaks to decades of proper nutrition. He says, "I drive at night. I had cataracts removed. They put in 20/20 lenses, so I have 20/20 vision through my glasses." Lutein and zeaxanthin are critical for this kind of visual health preservation. And mangoes are one of the richest sources. Mangoes also contain compounds that support digestive health. They have digestive enzymes like amylase that help break down carbohydrates. They contain fiber that feeds beneficial gut bacteria. Studies have shown that polyphenols in mangoes may help prevent the growth of certain breast and colon cancer cells. For seniors, mangoes provide another crucial benefit. They're easy to eat. If you have dental issues or difficulty chewing, a ripe mango is soft, sweet, and requires minimal effort to consume. Dr. Scharffenberg recommends eating a variety of fruits, but mango is clearly one of his staples. Other key foods in his diet. Beyond tofu and mangoes, Dr. Scharffenberg follows the standard Adventist dietary pattern we discussed earlier. His meals include generous portions of beans and lentils. He eats whole grains like brown rice and oatmeal. He consumes nuts daily, with a particular preference for pistachios. He fills his plate with a variety of vegetables, emphasizing leafy greens and colorful produce. It's essential for the normal functioning of immune cells, particularly T cells and B cells, that fight infections. Vitamin A deficiency dramatically increases your susceptibility to respiratory infections, diarrheal diseases, and measles. Vitamin A plays a crucial role in cell growth and differentiation. It's particularly important for maintaining healthy skin, as skin cells turn over rapidly and require constant replacement. It's essential for reproductive health in both men and women. It supports healthy fetal development during pregnancy. Warning signs of vitamin A deficiency. The earliest sign is night blindness. If you struggle to see when driving at night, or if it takes a long time for your eyes to adjust when moving from bright light to darkness, you may be deficient. Dry eyes and dry skin are common signs. Your eyes may feel gritty or irritated. Your skin may become rough, dry, and flaky, particularly on your arms and thighs. Frequent infections, particularly respiratory infections, can indicate deficiency. If you're constantly getting colds, flu, or other infections, inadequate vitamin A may be compromising your immune system. Slow wound healing is another sign. Vitamin A is necessary for collagen production and tissue repair. In severe deficiency, you can develop corneal damage and complete blindness. This is rare in developed countries, but common in areas with poor nutrition. The osteoporosis connection. Here's something critical that Dr. Scharffenberg points out. There are two forms of vitamin A you can consume: preformed vitamin A, retinol, from animal sources, and beta-carotene from plant sources, and they have very different effects on bone health. High intake of preformed vitamin A from supplements or liver consumption is associated with increased risk of osteoporosis and bone fractures. Too much retinol can actually interfere with vitamin D metabolism and reduce bone density. But beta-carotene from plant sources does not have this effect. Your body converts beta-carotene to vitamin A only as needed, preventing toxicity. And beta-carotene doesn't interfere with bone health. Dr. Scharffenberg specifically says, vitamin A increases the risk of osteoporosis. Beta-carotene doesn't. This is why he emphasizes getting vitamin A from plant sources rather than supplements or animal products. Best food sources of beta-carotene. Sweet potatoes are one of the richest sources. Just one medium sweet potato provides over 400% of your daily vitamin A needs. Dr. Scharffenberg specifically recommends dark-colored sweet potatoes. Carrots are excellent, providing over 200% of your daily needs in just 1 cup of cooked carrots. Cantaloupe. The yellow-orange melon Dr. Scharffenberg mentions is rich in beta-carotene. Dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, and collard greens are excellent sources, though the beta-carotene is masked by chlorophyll. Butternut squash, pumpkin, and other orange-colored vegetables are rich sources. Red bell peppers, apricots, and mangoes, Dr. Scharffenberg's favorite, also provide significant amounts. How much do you need? The recommended daily allowance for vitamin A is 900 micrograms for men and 700 micrograms for women. But here's what's important. If you're getting your vitamin A from beta-carotene, you can't overdose. Your body converts only what it needs. However, if you're taking vitamin A supplements or eating large amounts of liver, you can easily get too much, which is toxic. Dr. Scharffenberg's recommendation: eat a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables every day, particularly orange and yellow produce and dark leafy greens. 1 serving of sweet potato, carrot, or cantaloupe daily will more than meet your needs. Avoid high-dose vitamin A supplements unless prescribed by a doctor for a specific deficiency. If you eat animal products, be cautious about liver consumption. While it's extremely rich in vitamin A, it's easy to get excessive amounts. For most people following a plant-rich diet, vitamin A deficiency is easily preventable. But for those eating a diet heavy in processed foods with few fruits and vegetables, deficiency is a real risk. Special considerations. Fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A require dietary fat for absorption. Eating your carrots or sweet potatoes with a small amount of healthy fat, like olive oil, nuts, or avocado, enhances absorption. People with digestive disorders that impair fat absorption, like celiac disease, Crohn's disease, or chronic pancreatitis, are at higher risk for vitamin A deficiency and may need monitoring and supplementation. Alcoholism severely depletes vitamin A stores and interferes with its metabolism. If you're experiencing night blindness or frequent infections, get your vitamin A levels tested and work with a healthcare provider to correct any deficiency. At 100 years old, Dr. Scharffenberg still has excellent vision because he's maintained adequate vitamin A status throughout his life. This is one of the 3 pillars of his longevity. Now let's move to the second critical vitamin deficiency, one that's particularly dangerous for anyone over 50. Vitamin B12 deficiency is what Dr. Scharffenberg calls a silent epidemic. More people are deficient than we ever thought, and the consequences for your brain, nerves, and blood are severe. Dr. Scharffenberg says, "You should know about the new evidence we have regarding vitamin B12. More people are deficient in B12 than we ever thought." Here's what makes B12 deficiency so insidious. It develops slowly over years. The symptoms are vague and often attributed to normal aging. By the time it's diagnosed, significant neurological damage may have already occurred. What is vitamin B12? Vitamin B12, also called cobalamin, is a water-soluble vitamin that's essential for DNA synthesis, red blood cell formation, and nervous system function. Unlike other vitamins, B12 is only found naturally in animal products and certain fortified foods. Plants don't make B12, which is why vegetarians and vegans are at high risk for deficiency if they don't supplement. Why B12 is critical. B12 is essential for producing red blood cells. Without adequate B12, you develop megaloblastic anemia, where your red blood cells are abnormally large and unable to carry oxygen efficiently. This causes severe fatigue, weakness, and shortness of breath. B12 is absolutely critical for nervous system function. It's required to produce myelin, the protective sheath around nerve fibers. Without adequate myelin, nerve signals can't transmit properly. B12 deficiency causes peripheral neuropathy, numbness, tingling, and pain in your hands and feet. It can cause difficulty walking, balance problems, and in severe cases, paralysis. Most frighteningly, B12 deficiency causes cognitive decline, memory loss, confusion, and dementia. In elderly people, B12 deficiency is often misdiagnosed as Alzheimer's disease. B12 is essential for DNA synthesis and cell division. Every cell in your body requires it for normal function. It's necessary for converting homocysteine to methionine. Without adequate B12, homocysteine levels rise, increasing your risk of cardiovascular disease. The absorption problem. After age 50. Here's where Dr. Scharffenberg drops a critical piece of information that most people don't know. He says, there are 2 methods by which vitamin B12 is absorbed. One is by the intrinsic factor, which is made in the stomach. Down in the ileum, the third part of the small intestine, it combines with vitamin B12, and you have to have this combination for it to be absorbed. This is the primary absorption pathway. Your stomach produces a protein called intrinsic factor. B12 from food binds to intrinsic factor, travels to your small intestine, and gets absorbed. But here's the problem. As you get older, you lose that ability to make that intrinsic factor. So, above 50, there are many people who are deficient, even though they're getting a lot of it in their meat diet. This is huge. Even if you're eating plenty of B12-rich foods like meat, fish, and dairy, if you're over 50, you may not be absorbing it properly. Your stomach acid production declines with age. Intrinsic factor production decreases. The result is that you can be eating adequate B12 but still becoming deficient. This is why approximately 20 to 40% of people over 60 are B12 deficient, even many who eat animal products regularly. The second absorption pathway. Dr. Scharffenberg explains, but there's another method of absorption, and that is by passive diffusion. Passive diffusion is a backup absorption pathway where small amounts of B12 can be absorbed directly through the intestinal wall without intrinsic factor. This pathway is inefficient. Only about 1 to 2% of B12 is absorbed this way. But if you consume large enough amounts, particularly through supplements, you can absorb adequate B12 even without intrinsic factor. This is why Dr. Scharffenberg recommends B12 supplements for everyone over 50 and for all vegetarians regardless of age. Who's at risk? Anyone over 50 is at risk due to declining stomach acid and intrinsic factor production. Vegetarians and vegans are at high risk because B12 is only found naturally in animal products. People taking certain medications are at risk. Metformin for diabetes, proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, and H2 blockers all interfere with B12 absorption. People with digestive disorders like Crohn's disease, celiac disease, or who've had gastric bypass surgery are at high risk. People with pernicious anemia, an autoimmune condition that destroys intrinsic factor, cannot absorb B12 from food at all. Chronic alcohol use depletes B12 and damages the gut lining. Symptoms of B12 deficiency. Early symptoms are fatigue, weakness, and shortness of breath due to anemia. Neurological symptoms include numbness and tingling in hands and feet, difficulty walking, balance problems, and muscle weakness. Cognitive symptoms include memory loss, confusion, difficulty concentrating, mood changes, depression, and in severe cases, dementia and psychosis. Other symptoms include pale or yellowish skin, a smooth, red tongue, mouth ulcers, and vision problems. The terrifying thing is that neurological damage from B12 deficiency can be permanent if not caught early. This is why screening and prevention are so critical. Testing for B12 deficiency. A simple blood test can measure your B12 levels. But here's what's tricky. Normal ranges are quite broad, and you can have symptoms even at the low end of normal. Optimal B12 levels are generally considered to be above 400 to 500 picograms per milliliter, not just above the lab's minimum of 200 to 300 picograms per milliliter. More sensitive tests include methylmalonic acid, MMA, and homocysteine, which rise when B12 is deficient even if blood B12 levels appear normal. If you're over 50, vegetarian, or have any of the risk factors I mentioned, get tested and discuss supplementation with your doctor. Dr. Scharffenberg's B12 Protocol. For vegetarians, vegans, and anyone over 50, supplementation is essential. He recommends taking B12 supplements regularly. The most common forms are cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. Cyanocobalamin is synthetic, very stable, and well-studied. It's the form used in most supplements and fortified foods. Methylcobalamin is a natural form that's already active in the body. Some people prefer it, though both forms are effective. Dosage varies depending on your needs. For prevention, 250 to 500 micrograms daily is usually sufficient. For people with absorption problems, much higher doses are needed, 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms daily, because only 1 to 2% will be absorbed through passive diffusion. Some people require B12 injections, particularly those with pernicious anemia or severe malabsorption. Food sources. For people who eat animal products, B12 is found in meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and dairy. Shellfish, liver, and salmon are particularly rich sources. For vegetarians and vegans, B12 must come from fortified foods or supplements. Nutritional yeast, Fortified plant milks, fortified cereals, and fortified meat alternatives can provide B12, but supplementation is more reliable. The bottom line on B12. This is non-negotiable, especially as you age. If you're over 50, you need to supplement B12 or eat fortified foods regularly. If you're vegetarian or vegan at any age, you absolutely must supplement B12. There are no exceptions. Dr. Scharffenberg, as a vegetarian, has been supplementing B12 for decades. At 100, his cognitive function is excellent, his neurological function is intact, and he's avoided the devastating consequences of deficiency. Don't wait until you have symptoms. By then, damage may already be done. Test your levels and supplement preventatively. Now let's move to the third and final critical vitamin deficiency, one that affects over 70% of elderly Americans. Dr. Scharffenberg says, more than 50% of the general population is vitamin D deficient, regardless of age. It gets worse with age. Approximately 70% of elderly Americans are vitamin D deficient. In some studies, as many as 95% of American adults have vitamin D deficiency. Think about that. We're talking about the vast majority of the population being deficient in a vitamin that's absolutely critical for bone health, immune function, cardiovascular health, and possibly even cancer prevention. What is vitamin D? Vitamin D is unique among vitamins because your body can produce it when your skin is exposed to sunlight. For this reason, it's often called the sunshine vitamin, or more accurately, the sunshine hormone. There are two forms, D2, ergocalciferol, from plant sources, and D3, cholecalciferol, from animal sources and skin production. D3 is more effective at raising blood levels. How vitamin D is made. Dr. Scharffenberg explains the process. We get it primarily from the sun. It hits the skin. The cholesterol in the skin gets converted, goes to the liver, gets changed around chemically again, goes to the kidneys, gets changed again, and makes a hormone that we call vitamin D. This is important to understand. Vitamin D isn't technically a vitamin at all. It's a hormone that your body produces through a complex multi-step process involving skin, liver, and kidneys. Why vitamin D is critical. Vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption. Dr. Scharffenberg says, it is important because it has to do with keeping the bones in good shape. We need vitamin D because it increases the absorption of calcium in the intestines. Without adequate vitamin D, you can eat all the calcium in the world and still develop osteoporosis because you can't absorb it properly. He says, if you have adequate blood levels of vitamin D, you may absorb as much as 3 times more calcium. 3 times more. That's an enormous difference. Vitamin D is also crucial for immune function. It activates T cells and helps your body fight infections. Deficiency is associated with increased susceptibility to respiratory infections, flu, and even COVID-19. Emerging research suggests vitamin D may protect against certain cancers, particularly colon, breast, and prostate cancer. Dr. Scharffenberg says, we think it may in some cases decrease the risk of certain cancers. Perhaps most surprisingly, vitamin D affects blood pressure. Dr. Scharffenberg notes, the blood vitamin D level came up and the blood pressure came down. So it was helpful for blood pressure. Many people struggling with high blood pressure may actually be vitamin D deficient. Vitamin D also appears to play a role in brain health, mood regulation, and possibly protection against dementia. Why are so many people deficient? Dr. Scharffenberg explains, everybody living north of, say, Washington, D.C. or New York City, those people are all deficient in vitamin D. Geography matters enormously. In northern latitudes, particularly during winter months, The sun's angle is too low for UVB rays to penetrate the atmosphere effectively. Even when the sun is shining, you're not making vitamin D for about 6 months out of the year if you live in the northern United States, Canada, or northern Europe. Modern lifestyle is another factor. We spend most of our time indoors. We wear sunscreen when we go outside. We cover our skin with clothing. All of these reduce vitamin D production. Age is a major factor. As you get older, your skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D. A 70-year-old produces about 25% as much vitamin D as a 20-year-old from the same sun exposure. Darker skin requires more sun exposure to produce the same amount of vitamin D because melanin acts as a natural sunblock. Obesity is associated with lower vitamin D levels because the vitamin gets sequestered in fat tissue and isn't as bioavailable. Warning signs of vitamin D. Deficiency. Bone pain and lower back pain can indicate deficiency. Your bones may ache or feel weak. Frequent infections, particularly respiratory infections, are a red flag. Fatigue and low energy that won't improve regardless of sleep can be related to low vitamin D. Depression and mood changes, particularly seasonal affective disorder in winter, are often linked to deficiency. Slow wound healing and muscle pain or weakness can indicate low vitamin D. Hair loss and impaired cognitive function in elderly people may be related to deficiency. Testing and optimal levels. Blood testing for 25-hydroxyvitamin D is the gold standard. This test measures your vitamin D status. The medical community debates optimal levels. The conventional cutoff for deficiency is below 20 nanograms per milliliter. Insufficiency is 20 to 30 nanograms per milliliter. But many experts, including Dr. Scharffenberg, believe optimal levels are 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter for best health outcomes. The skin cancer concern. Dr. Scharffenberg acknowledges, you can get too much vitamin D and get skin cancer. This is referring to excessive sun exposure, not supplementation. The relationship between sun exposure, vitamin D, and skin cancer is complex. UVB rays produce vitamin D, but also cause DNA damage that can lead to skin cancer. You need some sun exposure for vitamin D, but excessive exposure increases cancer risk. The key is moderate, regular sun exposure without burning, particularly on large areas of skin like arms and legs. Dr. Scharffenberg's vitamin D protocol. For people who can't get adequate sun exposure, supplementation is essential. He says, old people aren't getting it. They have to take a supplement. The recommended daily allowance is 600 to 800 IU, but many experts believe this is too low for optimal health. Dr. Scharffenberg and many other longevity-focused physicians recommend 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily for most adults, and potentially more for people who are deficient. Some people require even higher doses, 4,000 to 5,000 IU daily, particularly if they're very deficient, have dark skin, are obese, or live in northern latitudes. Vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, is more effective than D2, ergocalciferol, at raising blood levels. Because vitamin D is fat-soluble, take it with a meal containing fat for better absorption. Food sources. Very few foods naturally contain vitamin D. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are the best sources. Cod liver oil is extremely rich in vitamin D, but also very high in vitamin A. Egg yolks contain small amounts. Mushrooms exposed to UV light contain vitamin D too. Many foods are fortified with vitamin D, including milk, plant milks, orange juice, and cereals, but the amounts are usually insufficient to maintain optimal levels. Sun exposure guidelines. If you live in a sunny climate, aim for 10 to 30 minutes of midday sun exposure several times per week on bare arms and legs without sunscreen. The exact time needed depends on your skin tone. Lighter skin needs less time. Darker skin needs more. After producing vitamin D, you can apply sunscreen for extended exposure. During winter in northern latitudes, sun exposure won't produce adequate vitamin D. Supplementation is necessary. The bottom line on vitamin D: over 70% of elderly Americans are deficient. This is a massive public health problem that's largely ignored. Vitamin D deficiency contributes to osteoporosis, fractures, falls, immune dysfunction, cardiovascular disease, and possibly cancer and dementia. Testing is simple and affordable. Supplementation is safe, effective, and inexpensive. Dr. Scharffenberg emphasizes vitamin D as one of the 3 critical vitamins for longevity. At 100, he's maintained adequate vitamin D levels through supplementation, and it's clearly contributed to his remarkable bone health, immune function, and overall vitality. Don't ignore this. Get tested. Supplement if needed. Monitor your levels annually. Now, let's put everything together into a complete action plan you can start implementing today. We've covered an enormous amount of information. Dr. Scharffenberg's 100 years of life and 70 years of medical practice have given us a blueprint for longevity. Let me consolidate everything into a practical step-by-step action plan you can start implementing immediately. Phase 1. The first 30 days, foundation building. Week 1. Assessment. Get blood work done. Test vitamin A status through a comprehensive metabolic panel, vitamin B12 levels, and potentially MMA and homocysteine, and 25-hydroxyvitamin D levels. Schedule a checkup with your doctor to discuss your results and any supplementation needs. Take baseline measurements: weight, blood pressure, energy levels on a scale of 1 to 10, sleep quality, mood, and any concerning symptoms. Week 2. Movement protocol. Start walking. Begin with just 10 minutes after dinner if you're currently sedentary. Increase by 5 minutes every few days until you reach 30 minutes daily. Find a walking partner or join a walking group for accountability and social connection. Add gentle stretching or yoga for 10 minutes daily to improve flexibility. Week 3. Dietary changes begin. Add 1 serving of beans or lentils to your daily diet. Try bean soup, hummus, lentil curry, or black beans with rice. Replace refined grains with whole grains. Switch white rice to brown rice, white bread to whole grain bread. Add 1 serving of nuts daily. A small handful, about an ounce. Week 4. Vitamin protocol. Based on your blood work, begin appropriate supplementation. Start B12 if you're over 50 or vegetarian, 1,000 micrograms daily of methylcobalamin or cyanocobalamin. Start vitamin D3 if deficient, 2,000 to 4,000 IU daily with a meal. Increase vitamin A through food, not supplements. Add sweet potato, carrots, or mango daily. Phase 2. Days 31 to 60. Deepening the practice. Increase movement. By day 30, you should be walking 30 minutes daily. Now add variety. Include hills or stairs twice a week. Add bodyweight exercises, squats, push-ups against a wall, planks, 10 minutes 3 times per week. Try a new form of movement: swimming, cycling, dancing, tai chi. Find what you enjoy, because you'll stick with activities you find pleasurable. Deepen dietary changes. Aim for at least 5 servings of vegetables daily. Fill half your plate with vegetables at lunch and dinner. Experiment with tofu or tempeh, like Dr. Scharffenberg. Start with 100 grams, about 3.5 ounces daily. Marinate it, bake it, add it to stir-fries or salads. Reduce or eliminate processed foods. If it comes in a package with more than 5 ingredients, minimize it. Cut back on meat consumption if you currently eat it daily. Try meatless Mondays or limit meat to 5 times per month like people in blue zones. Optimize hydration. Drink at least 8 glasses of water daily. Keep a reusable water bottle with you. Reduce or eliminate sugary beverages, sodas, juices, and sweetened coffee drinks. Phase 3. Days 61 to 90. Mastery and integration. Advanced movement. By day 60, aim for walking 45 minutes to 1 hour daily, or 2 miles like Dr. Scharffenberg. Add strength training twice per week. This is critical for maintaining muscle mass and bone density as you age. Use light weights, resistance bands, or bodyweight exercises. Complete dietary transformation. By day 90, your diet should look like this: 50% vegetables and fruits, 25% whole grains, 15% legumes, beans, lentils, tofu, tempeh, 10% nuts, seeds, and healthy fats. If you still eat animal products, limit them to small portions a few times per week. Completely eliminate processed foods, refined sugars, and trans fats. Lifestyle integration. Establish a consistent sleep schedule. Aim for 7 to 9 hours nightly. Practice stress reduction daily. Meditation, prayer, deep breathing, whatever works for you. Even 10 minutes makes a difference. Strengthen social connections. Call friends, join community groups, volunteer. Loneliness kills as surely as smoking. Find your purpose. What gets you out of bed in the morning? At 100, Dr. Scharffenberg still teaches and helps patients. What's your contribution? Ongoing monitoring. At day 90, repeat your blood work. Compare your vitamin levels to baseline. You should see significant improvements in B12 and vitamin D if you've been supplementing. Retake your baseline measurements: weight, blood pressure, energy levels, sleep quality. Document improvements. The 90-day challenge rules. I want you to commit to this for 90 days. 3 months, that's all I'm asking. Track your progress daily. Use a journal, an app, or a simple checklist. Did you walk today? Did you eat vegetables? Did you take your supplements? Join our community. In the comments below, tell me you're accepting the challenge. Then come back every week and update us on your progress. Take before photos and measurements. You'll be amazed at the transformation. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. If you miss a day, don't give up. Just start again the next day. What to expect week 1. You might feel tired as your body adjusts to new foods and movement. This is normal. Week 2. Energy starts improving. Sleep gets deeper. Digestion may improve if you're eating more fiber. Week 3 to 4. You'll notice clothes fitting differently. Energy is more stable throughout the day. Cravings for processed foods decrease. Week 5 to 8. Significant changes become apparent. Weight loss if needed. Blood pressure may decrease. Mood improves. Brain fog lifts. Week 9 to 12. This becomes your new normal. Healthy behaviors feel automatic, not forced. You feel genuinely better than you have in years. Long-term sustainability. After 90 days, this shouldn't feel like a diet or a temporary challenge. This should be your new lifestyle. Dr. Scharffenberg has lived this way for decades. That's how he reached 100 in excellent health. You're not making a 90-day commitment. You're making a decision to live differently for the rest of your life. A longer, healthier, more vibrant life. Common obstacles and solutions. I don't have time to cook. Meal prep on Sundays. Cook large batches of beans, grains, and roasted vegetables. Store them in containers for quick meals all week. Healthy food is expensive. Beans, rice, oats, and seasonal vegetables are among the cheapest foods available. You'll save money by eliminating processed foods and reducing meat. My family won't eat this way. Lead by example. Cook delicious plant-based meals. Most people love bean chili, veggie stir-fries, and fruit smoothies. Don't make it weird or preachy. I have health conditions that complicate things. Work with your doctor. Most health conditions improve dramatically with these changes, but you may need medication adjustments as you get healthier. I'm too old to change. Dr. Scharffenberg is 100 and still learning. It's never too late to improve your health. Special considerations for different age groups. If you're 30 to 50, this is your critical prevention window. The habits you build now determine your health at 70, 80, and 90. Prioritize exercise, especially in your 40s, to protect against future Alzheimer's. Build bone density now while you still can. Establish healthy eating patterns before chronic diseases develop. If you're 50 to 70, this is your window for reversal. Many age-related changes can still be reversed or significantly improved. Focus intensely on the 3 vitamins, A, B12, and D. Get tested and supplement aggressively if deficient. Increase movement to prevent frailty. Reduce inflammation through diet to slow disease progression. If you're over 70, it's absolutely not too late. Dr. Scharffenberg is proof. Focus on maintaining function and independence. Walk daily to prevent falls and maintain mobility. Supplement B12 and vitamin D without question. Eat nutrient-dense foods to prevent malnutrition. Stay socially connected to protect cognitive function. The most important message. Everything I've shared today comes from one man's 100 years of life and 70 years of medical practice. Dr. John Scharffenberg is living proof that these principles work. He's not special. He's not genetically gifted. He simply made better choices, consistently, over decades. You can do this too. You can be the healthy, active, independent 80, 90, or 100-year-old that your family admires and depends on. But it starts today. Not tomorrow. Not Monday. Today. Your action items right now. Number 1. Comment below accepting the 90-day challenge. Tell me where you're watching from and what your biggest health goal is. Number 2. Schedule an appointment with your doctor this week to get blood work for vitamins A, B12, and D. Number 3. Go to your kitchen right now and throw away one processed food item. Replace it with something whole and plant-based. Number 4. Set a reminder on your phone for tomorrow morning to take a 10-minute walk. Number 5. Share this video with someone you care about who needs this information. This could literally save someone's life. If you've made it this far, thank you for investing 50 minutes in learning how to extend your healthy lifespan. That's not time wasted. That's time invested in your future. Dr. John Scharffenberg, at 100 years old, is still teaching, still helping, still contributing. He walks 2 miles every day. He sees patients. He has 20/20 vision. His mind is sharp. His body is functional. This is possible for you too. But you have to make the choice. You have to commit. You have to do the work. The 3 vitamin deficiencies we covered today, vitamin A, B12, and vitamin D, are affecting over 70% of Americans. They're causing blindness, dementia, osteoporosis, and premature death. But they're completely preventable and reversible with proper nutrition and supplementation. The lifestyle principles we discussed, daily movement, plant-based nutrition, stress reduction, social connection, and purpose, are proven across multiple blue zones to add 10 to 20 years of healthy life. This isn't theory. This isn't speculation. This is documented, proven, evidence-based longevity science. So here's my final challenge to you. Imagine yourself at 100 years old. What do you want your life to look like? Do you want to be in a nursing home, dependent, medicated, just surviving? Or do you want to be like Dr. Scharffenberg, walking, teaching, contributing, fully alive? The choice you make today determines which version of your 100-year-old self you become. Choose wisely. Now, before you go, I need you to do 3 things. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. Next week, I'm revealing Dr. Scharffenberg's most controversial stance. The one common food, he says, is aging Americans faster than smoking. It's in almost every kitchen. You need to see that video. Second, give this video a thumbs up. It tells YouTube to share this with more people who desperately need this information. We're fighting against an algorithm that wants to show people junk food ads and pharmaceutical commercials. Your like helps us win that battle. Third, and most important, drop a comment right now. Tell me you're accepting the 90-day challenge. Tell me where you're watching from. Ask any questions you have. I read every single comment and I'll respond to as many as I can. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone struggling with health issues, someone worried about aging, someone who just needs hope, share this video with them right now. You could change their life. We're building a community of people who are choosing to age differently. People who refuse to accept that decline is inevitable. People who are inspired by Dr. Scharffenberg's example and are committed to following in his footsteps. Join us. Be part of this movement. Start your 90-day challenge today. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, walk daily, eat plants, supplement wisely, and remember, every choice you make today is either adding years to your life or taking them away. Choose life. Choose health.